The unexpected invitation. The message arrived on a Tuesday morning. Transmitted through quantum channels humanity had only recently discovered existed. Ambassador Marcus Sullivan stood in the United Nations General Assembly Hall, his weathered hands gripping the podium as he read the alien text, now displayed on screens worldwide. The Galactic Council, an entity whose existence humanity had only theorized about, had extended an invitation for Earth to join their ranks. "This is unprecedented," Marcus muttered to his colleague, Dr. Isabella Rhodes, a xenolinguist who had spent the last decade decoding fragments of alien communications. Her dark eyes scanned the message repeatedly, searching for hidden meanings in the carefully crafted diplomatic language. "It's too convenient," Isabella responded, her voice barely above a whisper. "We've been detecting their presence for centuries, yet they chose now to reveal themselves." She brushed a strand of silver-streaked hair from her face, a habit she'd developed during long nights studying alien linguistics. The assembly buzzed with excitement and apprehension. Representatives from every nation huddled in small groups, their discussions a symphony of different languages united by a common thread of uncertainty. The message had been clear. Earth would send 2 representatives to the Council's central hub, located in what humans had previously known as the Carina Nebula. Marcus and Isabella were chosen not just for their diplomatic and linguistic skills, but for their unique ability to remain calm under pressure. As they prepared for their journey, Earth's finest scientists and military strategists briefed them on everything from theoretical alien psychology to advanced defensive techniques. The ship that arrived to collect them was unlike anything human engineers had ever conceived. It seemed to bend reality around itself, its hull shifting between states of matter like water flowing over rocks. Their escort, a being that introduced itself as Nexus, appeared as a shimmering collection of geometric shapes that somehow managed to convey emotions through complex color patterns. "Your species has achieved much in a relatively short time," Nexus commented as they boarded. Its voice resonated directly in their minds, a sensation that took several minutes to become comfortable with. "The Council is particularly interested in your rapid technological advancement." Isabella noticed something in Nexus's tone, or rather, in the subtle shift of its colors, that set her analytical mind racing. "We've had our share of challenges to overcome," she responded carefully, watching as the being's patterns shifted to a deeper hue she hadn't seen before. As Earth disappeared behind them, Marcus stood at a viewing portal, his diplomatic training barely containing his awe at the sight of their planet shrinking into the distance. "I can't help but wonder," he said to Isabella. "Why now? Why us?" Their journey through space was a crash course in galactic politics. Nexus, whether intentionally or not, revealed bits of information about the Council's structure. 12 major species held permanent seats, with hundreds of others serving in various advisory capacities. Humanity would be the first new species considered for full membership in over 10,000 years. "Your kind has attracted significant attention," Nexus mentioned during one of their many conversations. "Some Council members find your species fascinating." The way the being's forms contracted slightly suggested there was more to this fascination than simple curiosity. As they approached the Council hub, Isabella's linguistic expertise picked up on subtle variations in Nexus's communication patterns. The being seemed to be choosing its words with increasing care, as if afraid of revealing too much. Marcus, too, noticed changes in their escort's behavior, brief moments of hesitation before answering certain questions, particularly those about humanity's place in the galactic community. The hub itself defied description. A massive structure that appeared to be grown rather than built, it housed representatives from thousands of civilizations. As their ship docked, Marcus and Isabella caught glimpses of beings that challenged their understanding of life itself. Some existed as pure energy, others as collective consciousness housed in mechanical shells. "The Council will receive you shortly," Nexus announced as they were led to their quarters. "You should prepare yourselves. The questions they ask may not be what you expect." Left alone, Marcus and Isabella shared a knowing look. Years of diplomatic experience had taught them both to read between the lines, and everything about this situation suggested there was far more at stake than a simple membership application. "They're afraid of something," Isabella said, organizing her notes on the various species they'd encountered. "The way Nexus speaks about human advancement, the sudden interest in our species." Marcus nodded, adjusting his formal attire, a subtle blend of Earth's diplomatic traditions and what they'd learned of council customs. "We need to be ready for anything. Whatever they're planning to ask us, whatever they're afraid of, we need to show them humanity is ready for this step." As they prepared for their presentation, neither could shake the feeling that they were about to discover why the galaxy's most powerful beings had kept their distance from Earth for so long, and why they had finally decided to break their silence. Secrets in the stars. The council chamber was a vast amphitheater that seemed to float in space itself, its transparent walls offering a panoramic view of the swirling Carina Nebula. Marcus and Isabella stood on a platform of what appeared to be living crystal, waiting to be introduced to the 12 council members who would decide humanity's fate. Their wait was interrupted by a sudden commotion. Through the translucent doors, they glimpsed several beings rushing past, their forms varying from crystalline structures to flowing plasma. The anxiety in their movements was universal, transcending species barriers. "Something's wrong," Isabella whispered, her trained ear picking up fragments of urgent communications in various alien languages. Though she couldn't understand all of them, the tone was clear: fear, urgency, and something else: recognition. Before Marcus could respond, the main doors dissolved, revealing High Counselor Zenith, a being composed of interwoven strands of light and dark matter. "Humans," it addressed them, its voice resonating at multiple frequencies simultaneously. "We must accelerate our proceedings. Recent events have made your petition time-sensitive." As they were led into the chamber, Isabella noticed multiple data streams flowing through the walls, carrying information in languages she had never seen before. One fragment caught her attention, a repeated symbol that her translation matrix identified as awakening. The council members arranged themselves in a semicircle before them. Each was distinct: Zenith's weaving energies, the crystalline architecture of Counselor Prism, the quantum probability cloud that was Counselor Flux, and others equally exotic. But what struck Marcus most was their attention. Every entity was focused intently on the two humans, studying them with an intensity that bordered on uncomfortable. "We have reviewed your species' history," Counselor Prism began, its voice chiming like crystal bells. "Your development has been remarkable, particularly your response to adversity." "What concerns us," interrupted Counselor Flux, its form shifting through infinite possibilities, "is the speed of your advancement. From primitive combustion to quantum manipulation in mere centuries, it's unprecedented." Marcus stepped forward, his diplomatic training kicking in. "We've always been driven to explore, to understand, to improve. It's fundamental to human nature." "Yes," Zenith responded, its patterns darkening. "That is precisely what concerns us. We have observed how your species reacts to challenges. You don't just overcome them. You emerge stronger, more capable, more dangerous." Isabella's linguistic training caught the subtle emphasis on the last word. She was about to speak when alarms suddenly blared through the chamber. The council members' attention shifted to a holographic display that materialized in the center of the room. "It's happening again," Flux announced, its probability patterns becoming erratic. "Another breach in Sector 7. The display showed what appeared to be a battle. Massive ships, some larger than Earth's moon, engaged with a much smaller vessel. But the smaller ship was holding its own, moving with impossible speed and precision. "Impossible," Isabella breathed, recognizing the design of the smaller ship. "That's human architecture." The council chamber erupted in chaos. "You knew about this?" Zenith demanded, its energy patterns flaring dangerously. Marcus stepped forward, placing himself between the council and Isabella. "This is the first we're seeing of this. We have no military vessels operating outside our solar system. Not in this timeline. Prism chimed in, its crystalline structure resonating with tension. But we've seen this before, in other probability streams, other potential futures. Humanity doesn't just adapt. You evolve, exponentially. You take every challenge, every threat, every limitation, and turn it into an advantage. The display showed the small ship executing a maneuver that seemed to bend space itself, emerging behind one of its massive pursuers and somehow erasing it from existence. "This is why we brought you here," Zenith announced, its voice heavy with resignation. "Not to consider your membership petition. To contain you. The time streams are converging," Flux added, its form stabilizing into something more solid, a sign of extreme distress among its kind. "In every future where humanity remains isolated, you eventually discover the truth about your potential. And when you do, we reshape reality itself." Isabella finished, the pieces finally clicking into place. Her years of studying alien languages had given her insights into their psychology, their fears. "You're not afraid of what we are. You're afraid of what we might become." Marcus watched the battle playing out in the hologram, his mind racing. The ship's design was clearly human, but the technology it displayed was centuries beyond their current capabilities. "Unless the other breaches you mentioned," he said slowly, "they were human ships too, weren't they? But not from our timeline. From futures where we developed independently. From futures where you became unstoppable." Prism confirmed. "Your species has a unique ability. You don't just learn from your mistakes. You learn from mistakes you haven't even made yet. Somehow, your collective consciousness reaches across timelines, gathering knowledge, experience, capabilities. It's why you advance so quickly, why you solve problems that should be beyond your understanding." The alarms suddenly intensified. The hologram showed more ships appearing, all of human design, all displaying impossible capabilities, and they were converging on the Council hub. "It seems," Zenith announced grimly, "that our attempt to contain humanity has only accelerated the inevitable. The question now is, what will you do with this knowledge?" Marcus and Isabella shared a look, both understanding the weight of this moment. They weren't just representing present-day Earth anymore. They were standing at a crossroads of human destiny itself. The Council's test. The Council hub's defense systems activated, creating layers of shimmering energy fields that rippled like aurora borealis against the backdrop of space. Through the transparent walls, Marcus and Isabella watched as more human ships emerged from what appeared to be tears in the fabric of reality itself. "We need to establish communication," Isabella said firmly, turning to face the Council. "Those ships, they're us, different versions of us. If what you say is true about humanity's consciousness being connected across timelines, then maybe we can reach them." Counselor Flux's form swirled with uncertainty. "The previous attempts at contact have all failed. These versions of humanity, they're angry. They've discovered what we've done, how we've been subtly influencing human development across multiple timelines, trying to prevent exactly this," Marcus finished, his voice hard. "But don't you see? Your interference is what caused this. The moment humanity realized we were being manipulated, being held back, it became inevitable that we would fight back." The chamber shuddered as the first volleys of energy weapons struck the hub's shields. The holographic display showed dozens of human ships now, each one utilizing technology that seemed to operate on different fundamental laws of physics. Some phased through space, others bent gravity itself, and a few appeared to be utilizing weapons that erased matter from existence. Zenith's energy patterns fluctuated rapidly. "We have contained thousands of species over the millennia, guided their development to ensure stability in the galaxy. None have ever responded like this. None have ever broken through the barriers between timelines." Isabella's eyes widened as she watched the battle unfolding. "Because none of them were pushed to. You don't understand humanity at all, do you? The more you try to contain us, the more we expand. The more you try to control us, the more we break free. It's not just about adaptation, it's about transcendence. Another impact rocked the chamber. The council members began broadcasting emergency signals to their fleets, but Marcus raised his voice above the chaos. Stop. Bringing more ships here will only make things worse. Let us talk to them. Impossible. Prism chimed, its crystalline structure vibrating with stress. Our communication systems can't penetrate their defensive fields. They're operating on principles we don't understand. But we might, Isabella said, stepping forward. She reached for the central communication console, her fingers hovering over the alien controls. Every version of humanity out there has been shaped by their own timeline, their own experiences, but they're all still human. They all still think like us, feel like us. Marcus joined her at the console. The question isn't whether we can reach them technologically. It's whether we can reach them emotionally. Show them we understand why they're here. The council members exchanged what passed for glances among their species. Finally, Zenith moved forward. The console is yours. But know that if this fails, if those ships breach our defenses, the hub's automatic systems will initiate a cascade reaction that will collapse this entire sector of space. We cannot risk letting an uncontrolled humanity loose in the galaxy. Isabella's fingers flew over the controls, while Marcus focused on composing their message. Together, they crafted something uniquely human, not just words, but emotions, images, memories. The shared experience of looking up at the stars and dreaming. The pain of being held back. The anger of discovering manipulation, but also the hope of something greater. To all human ships, Isabella broadcast, her voice carrying not just through communication channels, but through the strange connection they now knew existed between all versions of humanity. We are you, the you that's just discovering the truth. We understand your anger. We feel it too. But we also understand something else. Marcus continued, we understand that this moment, right here, is a test. Not their test of us, but our test of ourselves. Across every timeline, humanity has proven that we cannot be contained. But now we need to prove something far more important, that we can contain ourselves. The attacks ceased. The human ships maintained their positions, their impossible weapons still trained on the hub. Through the quantum-encrypted channels came responses, dozens of them, hundreds, each from a different version of humanity that had broken free of their timeline's constraints. They all achieved this differently, Isabella murmured, reading the incoming data. Some through technology, others through biological evolution, some through mental expansion. But they all came to the same conclusion. That humanity's greatest strength isn't our ability to break free of constraints, Marcus finished. It's our ability to choose what we become once we're free. The council chamber fell silent as the messages continued to pour in. Each timeline's humanity had discovered different secrets of the universe, developed different solutions to identical problems. And now, for the first time, they were all connected, sharing their knowledge, their experiences, their potential. Zenith's form pulsed with what might have been fear, or perhaps awe. You're not just communicating with them. You're integrating, becoming something more. No, Isabella corrected, looking up from the console with eyes that seemed to see across all possible futures. We're becoming what we always were, what your interference was trying to prevent. We're becoming human, all of us, together. The ships outside began to move, not to attack, but to form a pattern. A new kind of order was emerging, one that neither the Council nor humanity had ever seen before. The test wasn't about whether humanity could be controlled. It was about whether humanity could control itself. And the answer was unfolding before them in real time. The truth unleashed. The pattern formed by the human ships resembled a vast neural network, each vessel connected by streams of quantum energy that defied the Council's understanding. Through the hub's transparent walls, the sight was both beautiful and terrifying. a physical manifestation of humanity's collective consciousness spanning multiple timelines. What we're witnessing, Isabella explained to the stunned council members, is convergence. Every version of humanity, every path we could have taken, every future we might have had, they're all connecting, sharing, learning from each other. Marcus stood at the central console, reading the streams of data flowing in from the ships. Each timeline developed different solutions to the same problems. Some mastered quantum manipulation, others biological enhancement, still others psychic evolution. But all of them, all of us, maintained our essential humanity. Counselor Flux's form rippled with agitation. This is precisely what we feared. Your species doesn't just adapt. You actively seek out knowledge that should be beyond your comprehension. You're absorbing capabilities that took other species millions of years to develop. Because you don't understand what drives us, Isabella responded, her voice firm. It's not just about power or advancement. It's about connection, understanding. Every human who ever looked up at the stars felt the same thing, a desire to reach out, to know, to comprehend. The chamber's holographic display shifted, showing images from various human timelines. In one, humanity had evolved into beings of pure energy. In another, they had merged with artificial intelligence. In yet another, they had mastered the fundamental forces of the universe itself. But in every timeline, they remained recognizably human in their desires, their emotions, their drive to explore and understand. Your containment strategy was flawed from the start, Marcus said, turning to face the council. You try to isolate us, to keep each timeline's humanity separate and controlled. But isolation is against our nature. Humans build connections between people, between ideas, between possibilities themselves. Zenith's energy patterns shifted rapidly. You don't understand the responsibility that comes with such power, the ability to traverse timelines, to manipulate the fundamental forces of reality. It could destroy the very fabric of existence. A new signal cut through their conversation, a transmission from one of the human ships. Its commander's hologram appeared in the center of the chamber, an older woman with silver hair and eyes that seemed to hold the wisdom of multiple timelines. I am Admiral Rena Jung, from Timeline Designation, Alpha 779. We achieved timeline awareness 50 years ago in our continuity, and yes, we understand responsibility far better than you might think. More holograms appeared, commanders from other timelines, each with their own story of discovery, advancement, and the weight of responsibility that came with it. They had all faced the same choice, to use their power for dominance or for understanding. In every timeline, Admiral John continued, humanity reached the same conclusion. Power without purpose is meaningless. Knowledge without wisdom is dangerous. We didn't break through the barriers between timelines to conquer. We did it to learn, to grow, to understand ourselves and our place in the universe. Isabella stepped forward, her voice carrying the weight of revelation. That's what you never understood about us. Humans don't just want to survive or to dominate. We want to comprehend, to connect, to create something greater than ourselves. The neural network of ships outside the hub began to pulse with a new kind of energy. Data streamed between them, not just information but experience, understanding, wisdom accumulated across countless possible futures. The council members watched in astonishment as the network began to stabilize reality itself, healing the tears in space-time that their arrival had caused. Impossible, Prism chimed, its crystalline structure resonating with disbelief. They're not just communicating across timelines. They're stabilizing them, creating harmony between different possible futures. Marcus smiled. Because that's what humans do. We don't just adapt to our environment. We adapt our environment to create something better. We take chaos and find patterns. We take destruction and create harmony. The chamber sensors registered a new phenomenon. The human ships weren't just sharing information anymore. They were creating something entirely new, a framework for existence where multiple timelines could coexist without collapse, where knowledge could flow freely without destroying the fabric of reality. "We offer you a choice," Admiral Zhang announced to the Council. "Continue trying to contain us, to control us, to limit what we might become, or work with us, learn with us. Help us create something that none of us could achieve alone." The Council members conferred in rapid bursts of energy and thought. They had never faced a situation like this, a species that had not only broken free of their control, but had done so in a way that demonstrated wisdom rather than just power. Isabella and Marcus watched as the future of human-galactic relations hung in the balance. The truth had been unleashed. Humanity's unique nature, their ability to transcend normal limitations, their drive to connect and understand across all barriers. But the real test was still to come. Could the Council accept a future where they were no longer the sole arbiters of galactic development? The answer would reshape not just their timeline, but all possible futures of the galaxy itself. Balance of power. The Council chamber had become a nexus of possibilities, where the fate of not just one universe, but countless potential futures hung in the balance. The neural network of human ships outside the hub pulsed with patient energy, waiting for the Council's response to their offer of cooperation. Marcus stepped forward, his voice carrying the weight of conviction. "Because we've already proven it. Look at the ships outside. Each represents a timeline where humanity faced this moment of truth. In every single one, we chose understanding over dominance, creation over destruction. More than that," Isabella added, gesturing to the holographic displays showing data from multiple timelines, "we've demonstrated something unprecedented. We're not just existing across timelines, we're harmonizing them, creating stability where there should be chaos." Admiral Zhang's hologram nodded. "In my timeline, we discovered that the universe isn't just about power or knowledge. It's about balance. Every advancement we made, every barrier we broke through, taught us the same lesson. With greater ability comes greater responsibility." The chamber's displays shifted, showing the effects of the human neural network on local spacetime. Where there had been fractures and instabilities from the timeline breaches, now there was a new kind of order emerging. The human ships weren't just maintaining their own existence across timelines. They were actively healing the damage to reality itself. Counselor Flux's probability cloud condensed as it analyzed the data. "This defies all known laws of quantum mechanics. You're not just bridging timelines. You're harmonizing them, creating a stable framework for multiple futures to coexist. Because that's what humanity does best," Marcus explained. "We don't just solve problems, we transform them into opportunities. We don't just overcome barriers, we reshape them into bridges." Isabella moved to the central console, bringing up a new set of readings. Every species in the galaxy has its own unique gifts. Some can manipulate energy, others can shape matter, still others can perceive multiple dimensions. But humanity's gift is synthesis, the ability to take different, even conflicting elements, and create something new from them. The council chamber filled with murmurs as representatives from thousands of species discussed what they were witnessing. The human ships outside had begun a new configuration, forming a pattern that somehow existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. "We offer more than just cooperation," Admiral Zhang announced. "We offer a new way forward. A galaxy where advancement isn't about control, but about understanding. Where power isn't hoarded, but shared. Where different paths can coexist and enrich each other." Chrism's crystalline structure resonated with a new frequency. "You speak of harmony, yet your very existence challenges the order we've maintained for eons. How can we be certain this isn't simply a more sophisticated form of conquest?" In response, the human ships began a remarkable demonstration. Each vessel projected a field of energy that interacted with the others, creating a cascading effect that rippled through space-time. Where these fields intersected, new possibilities emerged, ways of existing that neither humanity nor the Council had imagined before. "This is our true nature," Isabella explained, her voice filled with wonder as she watched the display. Not to conquer, but to catalyze. Not to dominate, but to transform. Every timeline where humanity broke free of constraints led to the same revelation. The greatest power isn't the ability to impose our will on reality, but to help reality evolve into something greater. Marcus stepped to the center of the chamber, addressing all present. The Council feared us because you saw our potential for change as a threat to stability. But true stability doesn't come from controlling or containing change. It comes from guiding it, shaping it, helping it grow into something beautiful. The chamber fell silent as Zenith moved forward, its energy patterns shifting into a configuration none had seen before. In all our existence, we have sought to protect the galaxy from chaos. We thought this meant controlling development, containing advancement, maintaining the order we knew. But perhaps we have been too afraid of change itself. The neural network of ships pulsed with a new intensity, and the holographic displays showed something remarkable. The various timeline fluctuations were stabilizing, not through force or control, but through harmony. Different futures weren't competing for dominance. They were enriching each other, creating a multilayered reality where various possibilities could coexist and grow together. "This is our offer," Admiral Zhang declared. "Not membership in your council as it exists now, but partnership in creating something new. A galaxy where advancement isn't feared but embraced, where different paths can coexist and learn from each other, where the future isn't controlled but cultivated." The end.